There comes a moment in life when you feel a quiet pull inside your heart. It feels deeper than ambition. It feels stronger than fear. It is the desire to step into your divine purpose and discover God's plan for your life. Many people ignore this call because comfort feels safe, but destiny never grows inside comfort. It grows inside courage, faith, and personal transformation. You were not created to live a small story. You were designed with intention. Your life carries meaning, direction, and a higher assignment. Even when delays happen, even when doors close, God's timing is still active. Nothing has been wasted. Every season has been preparing you for something greater. This message is about awakening your faith journey and stepping into spiritual growth without fear. It is about understanding that your calling is not random. Your struggles shaped you. Your lessons strengthened you. Your setbacks refined you. The path was not easy, but it was necessary. Now is the time to stop running from your sacred destiny. Now is the time to trust God, build resilience, and move forward with confidence. What looks uncertain today may be the very doorway to your breakthrough season. You once prayed for clarity, but clarity did not arrive instantly. Instead, life gave you pressure. That pressure felt uncomfortable. Yet pressure produces strength. Many people ask for purpose but avoid process. However, purpose grows inside preparation. If you are feeling stretched, it may be a sign of growth. Growth rarely announces itself with comfort. It often appears disguised as responsibility. New challenges may feel heavy, but they are training grounds for leadership. God's plan often unfolds through discipline, not drama. What feels ordinary may actually be strategic alignment. There were seasons when you felt forgotten, but forgotten seasons build hidden character. Integrity develops in private before influence appears in public. If you are walking through silence, understand that silence is not absence. It is construction happening behind the scenes. Your destiny is not about applause. It is about obedience, focus, and steady faith. Keep moving forward. Keep refining your habits. Keep trusting the process. The foundation you are building now will support the success ahead. You once compared your journey to others. That comparison stole your peace. It made you question your timing. But destiny does not follow another person's calendar. Your breakthrough season has its own schedule. God's timing does not compete. Comparison creates confusion. It blinds you from your unique assignment. The gifts inside you are specific. Your experiences are different. Your calling is personal. When you stop measuring yourself against others, clarity returns. There are people who started before you. There are people who appear ahead of you, but their story is not your blueprint. Focus restores direction. Discipline restores progress. Confidence grows when you stop looking sideways. Your sacred destiny requires attention. Protect your mind from distraction. Guard your focus from envy. Stay committed to daily improvement. What belongs to you will not pass you. There was a time when fear controlled your decisions. Fear whispered that you were not ready. Fear reminded you of past mistakes. But fear is not truth. It is a test, and every test reveals what you truly believe about yourself and about God's promise. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is movement despite doubt. It is choosing courage while feeling uncertainty. When you step forward, even with shaking hands, you grow stronger. Confidence is built through action. You are not behind. You are becoming prepared. Every skill you are learning now will matter later. Every lesson you absorb now will protect you later. Trust the slow growth. Sustainable success takes time. Sacred destiny requires bold steps. Even small decisions can shift direction. Choose growth today. Choose discipline today. Choose belief today. The future responds to present obedience. There were doors that closed in front of you. At that moment, It felt like rejection. It felt unfair. But sometimes closed doors are divine protection. Not every opportunity aligns with your purpose in Christ. Redirection is not failure. It is refinement. When something leaves your life, it creates space. That space allows better alignment. What you thought was loss may actually be positioning. Breakthrough often follows disappointment. The pain you experienced sharpened your vision. It taught you discernment. It forced you to depend on God's plan instead of human approval. Do not chase what walked away. Focus on what remains. Build where you are planted. Strengthen your foundation. The right doors will open when preparation meets timing. There were seasons when progress felt invisible. You worked hard. You prayed quietly. You tried to improve your mindset. Yet nothing seemed to change on the outside. That kind of delay can test your patience. But hidden growth is still growth. Roots develop before fruit appears. Many people quit in the unseen phase. They stop building because they do not see results. But real transformation happens internally first. Your character, discipline, and emotional strength are forming. These qualities prepare you for lasting success. God's plan is not rushed. Divine destiny unfolds step by step. When you feel stuck, you are often being stabilized. Stability is necessary before elevation. Without strong roots, expansion becomes dangerous. Stay consistent in small actions. Improve one habit at a time. Strengthen your daily routine. The harvest will come, but first, the soil must be ready. There were moments when you doubted your own value. You questioned whether your life truly mattered. Negative thoughts became loud, but those thoughts were not facts. They were reflections of temporary emotion, not eternal truth. You carry unique abilities. Your personality is intentional. Your experiences shaped wisdom inside you. Even painful memories have become sources of understanding. Nothing in your story is useless. Low self-worth blocks progress. It creates hesitation. It limits bold decisions. But when you recognize your identity in God's plan, confidence grows. Confidence does not mean pride. It means clarity about who you are. Speak life over your journey. Replace doubt with truth. Replace insecurity with preparation. You were not created accidentally. You were designed with precision and purpose. There were distractions that tried to pull you away. Entertainment, noise, opinions, endless scrolling. These things consume attention, and attention determines direction. Where your focus goes, your energy follows. Sacred destiny requires mental discipline. Not everything deserves your time. Some habits weaken your growth. Some conversations drain your vision. Protect your mental space. Success in your faith journey depends on intentional living. Choose learning over laziness. Choose improvement over impulse. Daily focus compounds into major transformation. Silence the unnecessary noise. Strengthen your awareness. Guard your priorities. What you nurture grows. Make sure you are nurturing the right things. There were relationships that shaped you deeply. Some encouraged you. Others discouraged you. People influence perspective. They influence belief. They influence direction. That is why alignment matters. Not everyone assigned to your life is meant to stay forever. Some are seasonal. Some are lessons. Some are destiny helpers. Discernment protects your future. If someone constantly weakens your confidence, reconsider their access. Growth thrives in healthy environments. Support strengthens courage. Encouragement increases momentum. Build connections that reflect your values. Surround yourself with vision. Walk with those who respect your calling. Destiny flourishes in the right company. There were nights when you felt emotionally exhausted. You carried responsibilities. You carried expectations. You carried silent battles. Strength does not mean you never feel tired. It means you continue despite fatigue. Rest is not weakness. Rest restores clarity. It renews focus. It strengthens resilience. Even during your pursuit of purpose, balance is important. Burnout can distort vision. When your mind is overwhelmed, decisions suffer. Take time to reset. Reflection increases wisdom. Quiet moments improve direction. A healthy pace sustains long-term success. Your sacred destiny is not a race. It is a journey. Move steadily. Move wisely. Move faithfully. There were times when you tried to control every outcome. You wanted certainty. You wanted guarantees. But control creates pressure. Faith requires trust beyond visible proof. Surrender is not giving up. It is releasing anxiety. It is acknowledging that God's timing is greater than human planning. When you loosen your grip, peace increases. Overthinking drains strength. It steals joy. It delays action. Instead of analyzing every possibility, focus on the next right step. Trust the process. Trust the preparation. Trust that unseen alignment is happening. Destiny unfolds through obedience, not obsession. There were opportunities that seemed too small. You underestimated them. But small beginnings often carry great potential. Many breakthrough seasons start quietly. Do not despise humble starts. Skill development often begins in simple roles. Leadership develops through service. Influence grows through consistency. Every assignment teaches something valuable. Even routine tasks build discipline. Excellence in small details prepares you for larger platforms. Honor your current position. Give your best effort. Growth multiplies faithful stewardship. What you manage well expands. There were internal battles you never shared publicly. Doubt, regret, shame. These feelings tried to define you. But your past does not cancel your future. Mistakes are teachers, not life sentences. When you learn from them, you evolve. Accountability strengthens maturity. Growth follows honesty. Freedom begins with forgiveness. Forgive yourself for past errors. Forgive others for their limitations. Emotional release clears space for progress. Your sacred destiny is forward-focused. It does not depend on yesterday's failures. It depends on today's commitment. There were days when motivation disappeared. You did not feel inspired. But discipline carries you when motivation fades. Successful faith journeys rely on habits, not moods. Consistency builds confidence. When you show up daily, even imperfectly, progress accumulates. Small efforts repeated create powerful results. Routines create structure. Structure reduces confusion. Clarity improves productivity. This is how long-term transformation happens. Do not wait to feel ready. Act responsibly now. Momentum grows through movement. Destiny responds to perseverance. There were moments when you felt isolated. You felt different from others. That difference may be preparation. Leaders often experience separation before elevation. Isolation can refine focus. It removes distractions. It sharpens purpose. In quiet seasons, identity strengthens. You are not alone in your journey. Even when people do not understand you, God's guidance remains steady. Purpose sometimes requires courage to stand apart. Use solitude wisely. Develop skills. Deepen wisdom. Build resilience. When your season shifts, you will be ready. There were financial pressures that tested your faith. Provision did not always appear early. Yet provision often follows stewardship. Responsible management invites increase. Scarcity can teach discipline. It can teach gratitude. It can teach creativity. Hard seasons often produce resourcefulness. Do not measure destiny by current resources. Measure it by commitment and vision. Financial growth follows strategic action and integrity. Continue learning. Continue planning. Continue trusting. Breakthrough can arrive when preparation meets opportunity. There were voices that criticized your dreams. They said it was unrealistic. They said you should settle. But limited thinking does not define your potential. Guard your vision carefully. Not everyone understands divine purpose. Some people speak from fear. Others speak from projection. Confidence grows when you believe in God's promise for your life. Believe in steady improvement. Believe in measurable progress. Believe in long-term success. Silence negativity. Strengthen belief. Keep building. Destiny is not shaped by critics. It is shaped by conviction. There were habits that slowed your progress. Procrastination, disorganization, negative self-talk. These patterns quietly block growth. Awareness is the first step toward change. Transformation requires honest evaluation. Identify what weakens you. Replace it with productive behavior. Replace excuses with action. Personal development is part of your sacred destiny. Improve your mindset. Improve your time management. Improve your discipline. Small adjustments create powerful shifts. Change one pattern today. Your future self will benefit from today's decision. There were mornings when you woke up without excitement. The vision felt distant. The goals felt heavy. But not every day will feel inspiring. Some days are about commitment. Commitment keeps destiny moving forward even when emotions are quiet. Purpose is not built on feelings alone. It is built on structure and responsibility. When you show up consistently, even without applause, you develop strength. Strength prepares you for greater influence. Momentum grows slowly. It builds through repeated effort. One decision at a time. One improvement at a time. Over months and years, that discipline becomes visible success. Do not depend on excitement. Depend on consistency. Your sacred destiny responds to faithful action, not temporary motivation. There were times when you felt overlooked. Others received recognition while you remained unnoticed. That can create frustration, but visibility is not always the first reward. Character development comes first. Hidden seasons protect you from premature exposure. When growth happens privately, you are strengthened without pressure. This prepares you for long-term impact. Public success without inner maturity can destroy stability. That is why preparation matters more than attention. God's timing aligns growth with opportunity. Stay faithful in unseen moments. Stay diligent without validation. The right recognition will arrive when your foundation is strong. There were decisions you delayed because you feared making the wrong choice. Overthinking created paralysis. But movement creates clarity. Often, direction becomes clearer after you begin. Perfection is not required to move forward. Progress matters more. Responsible steps, even small ones, shift momentum. You learn through action. Fear of failure can block growth, but failure can teach wisdom. Lessons gained through experience sharpen your strategy. Take the next step with courage. Adjust along the way. Destiny unfolds through motion, not hesitation. There were seasons when your faith felt tested. Challenges increased. Unexpected obstacles appeared. Yet tests reveal depth. They reveal whether belief is surface level or rooted. Difficult situations strengthen resilience. They build endurance. They teach patience. Without resistance, strength does not grow. God's plan often includes refinement. Refinement removes weaknesses. It develops maturity. It prepares you for responsibility. Do not interpret trials as abandonment. Interpret them as training. What you endure today equips you for tomorrow. There were dreams you placed on hold. Life responsibilities demanded attention, but delayed does not mean denied. Some visions require timing adjustments. Maturity changes perspective. What once seemed urgent may need preparation. Growth helps you handle success wisely. Revisit your goals with clarity. Refine your strategy. Align your efforts with long-term purpose. Strategic patience produces sustainable results. Keep your vision alive. Even if progress feels slow, movement is happening beneath the surface. There were habits of self-doubt that whispered you were unqualified, but qualification often develops through commitment. Skill grows through practice. Nobody begins as an expert. Learning is part of destiny. Improvement requires humility. Humility invites growth. Invest in knowledge. Read consistently. Develop your abilities. Education strengthens confidence and expands opportunity. The more you grow, the more capable you become. Your calling becomes clearer as your competence increases. There were times when you avoided responsibility because it felt overwhelming. But responsibility expands capacity. It stretches leadership ability. When you accept greater responsibility, you develop confidence. You discover hidden strength. You realize you can handle more than you thought. Growth often arrives disguised as pressure. Instead of retreating, rise to the challenge. Every new demand is an invitation to evolve. Sacred destiny requires ownership. Take initiative. Solve problems. Lead with integrity. Expansion follows accountability. There were moments when impatience created frustration. You wanted immediate answers. But lasting success follows process. Process shapes endurance. Quick results can fade quickly. Slow growth builds stability. It creates depth. It develops wisdom. Trust long-term development. Trust steady improvement. God's timing is precise, even when it feels delayed. Patience protects you from mistakes. It aligns preparation with opportunity. There were emotional wounds that affected your confidence. Words spoken years ago still echoed, but healing is possible. Reflection brings awareness. Acknowledging pain is not weakness. It is maturity. Growth begins when you confront what hurt you. Seek understanding. Learn from experience. Release resentment. Emotional freedom restores clarity. Your future is not defined by old injuries. It is defined by present decisions. There were distractions disguised as opportunities. Not every open door leads to purpose. Discernment is essential. Before accepting new commitments, evaluate alignment. Does it support your long-term vision? Does it strengthen your character? Saying no protects focus. Focus protects progress. Progress moves destiny forward. Be selective with your time. Your attention is valuable. Invest it wisely. There were seasons when discipline felt boring. Routine lacked excitement. Yet routine builds excellence. Daily habits create structure. Structure produces results. Results strengthen belief. Even small, consistent actions accumulate. Over time, they create visible transformation. Honor the power of routine. It may feel ordinary, but it carries extraordinary impact. There were times when you questioned your impact. You wondered if your effort mattered. But influence is not always immediate. Seeds take time to grow. Positive actions create ripple effects. You may not see results instantly. Stay committed to integrity. Stay committed to service. Impact expands quietly before it becomes visible. Your consistency today shapes someone's tomorrow. Keep building faithfully. There were moments when you faced rejection. Doors closed. Plans changed. Yet rejection redirects energy. Redirection often leads to better alignment. It removes what does not fit your destiny. Instead of focusing on what ended, focus on what is forming. Every closed chapter creates space for a new one. Move forward with confidence. Destiny is not canceled by temporary setbacks. There were internal conflicts between comfort and growth. Comfort felt safe. Growth felt uncertain. But staying comfortable limits potential. Stretching beyond fear expands capacity. Risk, when guided by wisdom, strengthens courage. Courage unlocks opportunity. Choose growth over comfort. Expansion awaits outside familiarity. There were silent prayers you almost stopped praying. You felt unheard. Yet persistence matters. Consistency in faith builds resilience. Trust deepens over time. Even when answers seem delayed, alignment may be forming. Preparation often precedes visible change. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Breakthrough seasons often arrive unexpectedly. There were times when you underestimated your influence, but your attitude affects others. Your choices inspire silently. Leadership begins with example. Integrity attracts trust. Trust creates impact. Live intentionally. Speak wisely. Act responsibly. Your sacred destiny includes positive influence. Use it well. There were days when you felt pressure to prove yourself. You tried to impress others. You tried to meet every expectation. That pressure created stress. But destiny is not about proving worth. It is about living with authenticity and integrity. When you stop performing for approval, peace increases. You begin to act from confidence instead of insecurity. Real growth happens when your identity is stable. God's plan for your life does not depend on public validation. It depends on steady obedience and responsible action. Approval from people is temporary. Character is lasting. Release the need to impress. Focus on becoming. The right recognition will follow genuine growth. There were moments when you felt behind in life. Others seemed ahead in career, family, or success. Comparison created anxiety. But timelines are personal. Your journey carries unique assignments. Different seasons produce different results. What looks delayed may actually be strategic timing. God's timing protects you from premature exposure. It aligns opportunity with readiness. Trust that your season will arrive. Stay focused on improvement, progress at your pace. Destiny unfolds without competition. There were choices that demanded sacrifice. You had to let go of certain comforts. Sacrifice often feels painful at first, but sacrifice strengthens commitment. It clarifies priorities. It reveals what truly matters. Every meaningful goal requires discipline. Temporary discomfort leads to long-term reward. Without sacrifice, growth remains limited. Choose what builds your future over what satisfies the moment. Destiny responds to wise decisions. There were times when your confidence felt fragile. One mistake shook your belief, but mistakes do not erase progress. Failure is information. It teaches strategy. It exposes weaknesses so you can improve. Resilience develops when you stand up again. Growth multiplies when you learn and adjust. Do not label yourself by errors. Label yourself by persistence. Keep moving forward. There were opportunities to quit quietly. Nobody would have noticed, but quitting would have weakened your potential. Endurance separates dreamers from achievers. It builds inner strength. It sharpens mental focus. Long-term success in your faith journey depends on perseverance. Staying committed creates results. Hold your ground. Push through difficulty. Your breakthrough season may be closer than you think. There were internal battles with fear of the unknown. Uncertainty felt uncomfortable, but uncertainty often signals new territory. Growth rarely happens in predictable places. It happens when you step into unfamiliar ground with courage. Trust that preparation has equipped you. Skills you developed in previous seasons will support you now. Walk forward with steady confidence. Destiny often begins where comfort ends. There were conversations that shaped your thinking. Words spoken by mentors inspired action. Positive guidance accelerates growth. Seek wise counsel. Learn from experienced voices. Knowledge shortens learning curves. Humility opens doors. A teachable attitude strengthens progress. Continuous learning fuels long-term impact. Stay open to guidance. Growth thrives in wisdom. There were moments when doubt tried to return. It whispered that change was impossible. But transformation begins with belief. Your mindset determines direction. Negative thoughts limit potential. Positive, realistic thinking strengthens progress. Renew your thinking daily. Feed your mind with truth and discipline. Mental clarity improves decision-making. Protect your thoughts carefully. Destiny grows in a healthy mindset. There were seasons of financial uncertainty. Resources felt limited, yet resourcefulness developed creativity. Hard times teach budgeting. They teach planning. They teach appreciation. Responsible management invites increase. Stewardship attracts opportunity. Continue working with diligence. Continue planning wisely. Stability grows through discipline. There were delays that tested your patience deeply. You expected faster results. But delay is not denial. Time allows skills to mature. It allows character to strengthen. It aligns people and opportunities. Rushing can damage preparation. Patience builds endurance. Trust the timing of your growth. Trust the pace of your development. There were moments when you felt unseen in your effort. Hard work went unnoticed. Yet consistency always leaves impact. Invisible progress accumulates quietly. Small daily actions compound into visible transformation. Integrity in private produces influence in public. Character attracts trust over time. Keep working faithfully. Results are forming even if you cannot see them yet. There were crossroads that demanded bold decisions. Staying comfortable was easier, but growth required risk. Wise risk expands territory. It strengthens courage. It increases experience. Evaluate carefully, then move decisively. Clarity grows after action. Sacred destiny often waits at the edge of courage. There were emotional weights you carried silently. Regret, guilt, disappointment. But emotional healing unlocks progress. Acknowledge past experiences. Learn from them. Release their control over your future. Strength grows when you face truth. Maturity develops through reflection. Your next chapter requires emotional freedom. Step forward lighter and stronger. There were seasons when you felt spiritually dry. Inspiration felt distant. But discipline sustains faith when emotion fades. Daily habits of reflection build inner stability. Consistency strengthens connection. Even quiet seasons produce growth beneath the surface. Roots deepen before branches expand. Remain steady. Your faith journey is still active. There were challenges that forced you to grow quickly. Responsibility increased without warning. Pressure intensified. Yet pressure develops leadership. It builds confidence. It reveals hidden capacity. Instead of resisting growth, embrace it. You are stronger than you realized. This season is shaping you for greater influence and greater impact. There were doors that required preparation before opening. Skills needed refinement. Knowledge needed expansion. Preparation protects you from failure. It equips you for excellence. Invest time in learning. Sharpen your abilities. Strengthen your discipline. Opportunity meets readiness. Destiny aligns with preparation. There were times when gratitude felt difficult. Circumstances seemed unfair. Yet gratitude shifts perspective. Gratitude increases peace. It strengthens optimism. It improves mental health. Even small blessings matter. Appreciation fuels motivation. Choose thankfulness daily. It transforms your outlook and renews your energy. There were distractions that tried to steal your focus. Social pressure, endless comparison, negative news. Protect your mental space. Limit what drains your energy. Focus strengthens productivity. Guard your attention. Destiny requires concentration. There were moments when courage felt small. You doubted your strength, yet courage grows through action. Even small brave steps expand confidence. Fear weakens when confronted. Each time you choose faith over fear, you strengthen resilience. Keep choosing bravery. Growth follows boldness. There were silent victories you forgot to celebrate. Small progress. Quiet improvement. Celebrate growth. Recognition builds momentum. Acknowledging progress increases motivation. It reminds you that change is happening. Honor your journey. Every step forward matters. There were times when responsibility felt heavier than your strength. Expectations increased. Demands multiplied. You wondered if you could handle it all. Yet capacity expands under pressure. What once felt overwhelming slowly becomes manageable. Growth stretches you beyond previous limits. It forces adaptation. It develops new skills. Without challenge, potential remains hidden. Instead of shrinking back, rise with focus. Break large tasks into smaller actions. Steady progress reduces stress. You are not being crushed. You are being expanded. Greater responsibility signals greater trust in your ability. There were seasons when clarity seemed distant. You prayed for direction but received silence. Silence can feel confusing, yet quiet moments sharpen awareness. When noise fades, insight increases. Reflection brings understanding. Deep thinking uncovers patterns. Use unclear seasons to strengthen planning. Refine your goals. Evaluate your habits. Direction often appears after preparation. Stay patient and attentive. There were influences that tried to shape your identity. Society pushed certain standards. Culture defines success in narrow ways. But your calling is not built on trends. It is built on purpose and integrity. External pressure can distort internal clarity. Step back from unhealthy comparison. Define success through values, not popularity. Stay anchored in your principles. Your sacred destiny is unique. There were habits of procrastination that slowed progress. Delaying important tasks created stress. Avoidance stole opportunity. Action reduces anxiety. Starting builds momentum. Completion builds confidence. Create structure in your day. Prioritize what matters most. Limit distractions. Discipline protects dreams. Consistent effort produces measurable results. There were moments when pride tried to take control. Success tempted you to forget humility. But humility sustains long-term influence. Pride isolates. Humility connects. True leadership remains teachable. Stay grounded in gratitude. Recognize that growth is a process supported by many lessons. A humble heart maintains balance. Balance protects destiny. There were financial goals that seemed unreachable. Numbers felt intimidating. Yet financial wisdom develops over time. Learn budgeting skills. Study investment basics. Seek responsible guidance. Small savings accumulate. Wise decisions compound. Patience builds stability. Stewardship invites growth. Prosperity follows planning and discipline. There were friendships that shifted unexpectedly. Some relationships faded. Change can feel painful. Not every connection remains permanent. Seasons shift. Priorities evolve. Release relationships that no longer align with your values. Preserve respect, but protect peace. Healthy boundaries strengthen emotional health. Emotional health supports purpose. There were internal voices that questioned your readiness. They replayed past failures. They magnified insecurity. Challenge those thoughts with evidence of progress. Remember how far you have come. Confidence grows from action. Skill grows from repetition. Replace doubt with preparation. Preparation silences fear. There were opportunities to compromise your standards. Quick rewards look tempting, but shortcuts weaken foundations. Integrity builds lasting success. Short-term gain can create long-term regret. Choose principles over pressure. Choose honesty over convenience. Your reputation supports your destiny. Protect it carefully. There were days when your energy felt low. Productivity slowed. Focus weakened. Physical health affects purpose. Rest improves clarity. Exercise strengthens resilience. Balanced living increases endurance. Sustainable habits protect progress. Care for your body wisely. Strength supports calling. There were lessons learned through disappointment. Expectations failed. Plans changed. Disappointment reveals hidden assumptions. It forces adjustment. Instead of resisting change, adapt strategy. Flexibility strengthens growth. Every setback carries instruction. Extract wisdom and continue. There were moments when you hesitated to speak up. Fear of rejection silenced you. Your voice carries value. Ideas matter. Insight deserves expression. Practice confident communication. Clarity increases influence. When you speak with respect and courage, doors open. There were times when gratitude felt distant. Problems dominated attention. Shift focus intentionally. List small victories. Recognize daily provision. Gratitude improves mental strength. It reduces anxiety. A thankful heart maintains hope, even in challenge. There were dreams that required long preparation. Immediate results were unrealistic. Long-term goals demand endurance. Break them into stages. Celebrate milestones. Adjust when necessary. Persistence transforms vision into reality. There were internal conflicts between fear and ambition. Fear warned of failure. Ambition desired growth. Balance wisdom with boldness. Evaluate risk carefully. Calculated steps reduce unnecessary loss. Courage guided by knowledge creates opportunity. Move forward thoughtfully. Destiny rewards strategic bravery. There were situations that required forgiveness. Holding resentment drained energy. Forgiveness frees emotional space. It restores focus. Release what you cannot control. Control your response instead. Peace strengthens productivity. Emotional freedom accelerates growth. There were seasons when you felt underestimated. Others doubted your capability. Let doubt fuel discipline. Let skepticism sharpen skill. Prove progress through consistency, not argument. Results speak louder than defense. Excellence answers criticism. There were crossroads demanding clear priorities. Too many options created confusion. Define core values. Clarify long-term objectives. Remove activities that dilute focus. Simplicity increases effectiveness. Focus strengthens destiny. There were private victories no one saw. Silent growth. Quiet discipline. Celebrate them internally. Confidence grows in private acknowledgement. Hidden consistency creates visible success later. Continue building quietly. Your time will come. There were moments when uncertainty tested your patience again. Yet patience strengthens endurance. Rushed decisions create instability. Steady planning builds security. Trust the pace of development. Your sacred destiny unfolds, step by step, shaped by wisdom, discipline, and faithful action. There were moments when you felt the weight of expectation from family, friends, and even yourself. You wanted to succeed not only for personal fulfillment, but to prove that your life carries meaning. That pressure sometimes created anxiety, yet pressure can refine vision. It forces you to define what truly matters. When expectations feel overwhelming, pause and examine your priorities. Separate external noise from internal conviction. Your sacred destiny is not about carrying everyone's approval. It is about walking responsibly in the direction that aligns with your values, faith journey, and long-term growth. Many people confuse busyness with purpose. They fill every hour but feel empty inside. Activity does not equal alignment. True progress requires intentional direction. Evaluate how you spend your time. Are your actions connected to your larger calling? Or are they distractions disguised as productivity? Sustainable success grows from focused effort. Remove what drains your energy. Strengthen what builds your future. Alignment brings clarity, and clarity fuels momentum. There were times when you underestimated the power of small daily choices. A single decision may seem insignificant, but repeated patterns shape identity. Discipline in simple habits builds strength. Skipping one opportunity to improve may not look serious, yet repeated avoidance forms weakness. On the other hand, choosing growth daily compounds into transformation. Over time, these small commitments construct a stable foundation for leadership, influence, and measurable progress. God's plan for your life unfolds through ordinary obedience. Not every step will feel dramatic. Many days will feel routine. Yet those routine days are constructing something meaningful. Remain steady. Remain teachable. Remain committed to excellence. Sacred destiny is built through consistent faith, wise action, emotional maturity, and disciplined living. What you do today matters more than you realize. There were seasons when uncertainty tested your courage deeply. You stood at the edge of new opportunity, but feared the unknown outcome. Uncertainty often signals growth. It invites you to trust preparation instead of prediction. No one ever begins a new chapter with complete clarity. Confidence develops through movement. When you take a step forward, insight increases. When you act with integrity, strength multiplies. Courage is not loud. It is quiet determination that refuses to retreat. Fear can disguise itself as logic. It presents worst-case scenarios. It magnifies risk. But fear rarely shows potential reward. Evaluate risk wisely, but do not allow imagined outcomes to control you. Growth demands calculated bravery. Study your options. Seek counsel. Pray for guidance. Then move forward with calm assurance. God's timing often aligns breakthrough with bold obedience. There were lessons hidden inside seasons of delay. You asked for faster progress, yet delay allowed deeper preparation. Skills matured, perspective widened, emotional stability strengthened. Immediate success without maturity can damage long-term impact. Delay is sometimes protection. It allows you to grow into the level you are about to enter. Stay patient in preparation. Use waiting seasons productively. Strengthen character. Increase knowledge. Improve discipline. Refine strategy. When opportunity arrives, readiness will meet timing. That is how sacred destiny advances, through patience, persistence, and purposeful growth. There were times when your self-image felt unstable. One criticism affected your confidence. One failure questioned your competence. But identity must not depend on external reaction. Stable identity is rooted in understanding your calling and your growth journey. You are evolving. You are learning. You are not the same person you were years ago. Confidence grows when you acknowledge improvement. Reflect on past challenges you overcame. Recognize skills you developed. Growth may feel slow, but it is real. Self-awareness strengthens belief. Belief strengthens action. Action produces results. This cycle builds lasting confidence grounded in truth, not ego. Negative self-talk weakens potential. Replace harmful inner dialogue with constructive truth. Speak with realism and hope. You are capable of progress. You are capable of leadership. You are capable of fulfilling your purpose in Christ with integrity and wisdom. There were crossroads where comfort tried to convince you to stay small. Comfort feels safe. It avoids risk, but comfort limits expansion. Destiny requires stretching beyond familiarity. It requires learning new skills. It requires embracing responsibility. Expansion may feel uncomfortable at first, but discomfort is often the gateway to growth. Every major transformation begins with decision. Decision precedes change. When you decide to improve, you shift direction. When you decide to forgive, you release weight. When you decide to trust God's plan, you strengthen peace. Decisions shape destiny more than emotions ever will. Take ownership of your choices. Stop waiting for ideal conditions. Perfect circumstances rarely arrive. Growth begins where you are. Use available resources. Develop current skills. Improve your mindset. Sacred destiny is not postponed by limited beginnings. It is shaped by faithful stewardship. There were emotional battles you fought privately. You smiled publicly but struggled internally. That internal tension can feel exhausting. Yet honesty with yourself begins healing. Admit weakness. Seek support. Strength is not pretending everything is fine. Strength is facing reality with courage. Emotional maturity allows you to respond instead of react. It helps you handle criticism calmly. It helps you navigate conflict wisely. Growth requires emotional intelligence. It protects relationships. It preserves peace. It enhances leadership capacity. Invest in your inner life. Read books that challenge your thinking. Reflect on your experiences. Pray with sincerity. Journal your lessons. When your inner world becomes stable, your external world becomes more manageable. Destiny flows from inner stability. There were goals that demanded sacrifice of entertainment, distraction, and instant pleasure. Short-term comfort can steal long-term achievement. Discipline may feel restrictive, but it creates freedom later. Freedom from debt, freedom from regret, freedom from wasted potential. Success requires delayed gratification. Choose preparation over impulse. Choose study over laziness. Choose discipline over distraction. Each responsible choice compounds into future reward. This is how breakthrough seasons are formed. Remain focused on the bigger picture. Temporary discomfort cannot compare to lasting fulfillment. Your sacred destiny deserves effort. It deserves commitment. It deserves your best energy and your best character. There were seasons when criticism tested your composure. Not all criticism is harmful. Some criticism sharpens growth. Learn to separate destructive negativity from constructive feedback. Wisdom extracts value even from difficult conversations. Respond with humility. Evaluate truth objectively. Improve where needed. Ignore what lacks substance. Growth-oriented people use feedback as fuel. Defensive reactions limit potential. Your calling will attract attention. Some will celebrate you. Some will misunderstand you. Stay grounded. Maintain integrity. Let consistent excellence define your reputation. Over time, results speak clearly. There were moments when gratitude felt challenging because circumstances seemed unfair. Yet gratitude is not denial of difficulty. It is recognition of provision despite difficulty. Gratitude shifts focus from lack to possibility. A thankful perspective improves resilience. It increases optimism. It enhances mental clarity. Even in hardship, there are lessons and small blessings. Notice them intentionally. Practice gratitude daily. Speak appreciation aloud. Reflect on progress. Gratitude strengthens faith. It fuels perseverance. It transforms perspective in powerful ways. There were opportunities that required leadership even when you felt unprepared. Leadership often finds you before you feel ready. Growth happens in real time. Responsibility stretches capacity. Lead with honesty. Admit when you are learning. Seek advice when necessary. Leadership is not perfection. It is accountability and service. As you grow, confidence will stabilize. Experience refines decision-making. Courage strengthens under responsibility. Sacred destiny often unfolds through leadership opportunities that demand maturity. There were times when you felt torn between security and calling. A stable routine felt comfortable, yet something inside urged you toward deeper purpose. That inner tension can feel confusing. Stability is valuable, but stagnation is costly. Growth requires evaluating whether your current environment supports your long-term vision. Sometimes the safest choice is not the most aligned choice. When you sense a persistent pull toward improvement, do not ignore it. That inner signal may be directing you toward your sacred destiny. Comfort zones slowly shrink potential. They reduce urgency. They silence ambition. But stepping forward awakens creativity and courage. You begin to discover strengths you did not know existed. New environments sharpen awareness. They demand adaptability. Adaptability builds resilience. Resilience strengthens leadership. This is how transformation develops in practical, measurable ways. Fear of losing stability can delay progress. Yet wisdom does not demand reckless decisions. It calls for strategic planning. Prepare financially. Develop skills, strengthen networks, then move when timing aligns. Faith and preparation work together. Trust God's plan while building practical foundations. Balance belief with responsibility. Your destiny does not require impulsive action. It requires intentional progress. Review your goals regularly. Adjust your strategy wisely. Keep learning. Keep refining. Forward movement, even gradual, prevents regret. The step you take today may define your future trajectory. There were seasons when you questioned your uniqueness. You felt ordinary. You assumed others were more gifted. But uniqueness is not always loud. It often appears in subtle qualities: patience, empathy, discipline, insight. These traits shape influence quietly. Do not underestimate what feels simple. Simplicity often carries strength. Comparison hides originality. When you imitate others, you weaken authenticity. Authentic growth requires embracing your natural style and personal strengths. Develop what is already inside you. Improve communication. Improve skill. Improve consistency. Over time, your distinctive qualities will stand out naturally. God's plan does not duplicate stories. It crafts individual paths. Your experiences prepared you for specific challenges. Your lessons shape specific wisdom. That combination cannot be replicated. Confidence grows when you accept your uniqueness without arrogance. Stop minimizing your value. Instead, refine it. Study your strengths. Apply them consistently. Expand them intentionally. Sacred destiny flows best when you operate in authenticity rather than imitation. There were days when you felt overwhelmed by responsibility and questioned whether you could sustain the pace. Responsibility tests endurance. It reveals weaknesses in time management, planning, and emotional control. Instead of withdrawing, analyze what needs improvement. Adjust your schedule. Delegate when possible. Strengthen organization. Practical solutions reduce emotional pressure. Overwhelm often signals misalignment or lack of structure. Clarity reduces chaos. Write clear goals. Break projects into phases. Set realistic deadlines. Focus on one priority at a time. Multitasking weakens efficiency. Concentrated effort increases productivity. Your purpose in Christ is not meant to exhaust you. It is meant to mature you. Healthy discipline includes rest, reflection, and renewal. Sustainable growth requires balance. Guard your mental and physical health carefully. When you manage responsibility wisely, confidence increases. You begin to trust your ability to handle expansion. Expansion follows stability. Stability grows through structure. Structure strengthens destiny. There were conversations that challenged your perspective and forced you to rethink assumptions. Growth sometimes feels uncomfortable because it confronts outdated beliefs. Maturity requires releasing ideas that no longer serve your future. Intellectual humility opens the door to transformation. Seek knowledge intentionally. Read beyond your comfort zone. Listen to wise counsel. Evaluate information carefully. Truth withstands examination. Ignorance resists it. Education sharpens discernment and strengthens leadership. Mental growth improves decision-making. It reduces impulsive reactions. It enhances strategic planning. An informed mind builds long-term success. Invest in learning as seriously as you invest in ambition. Sacred destiny expands when knowledge increases. Growth in understanding improves clarity of purpose. Continue evolving. Continuous improvement keeps you aligned with your calling and strengthens your faith journey. There were moments when past disappointments tried to define your expectations for the future. You hesitated to hope again because hope once felt painful. Guarded hearts avoid risk, but guarded hearts also limit joy. Healing requires courage to believe again. Past failure does not guarantee future defeat. Every season carries new variables. You have grown since then. You have learned since then. Wisdom now protects you in ways inexperience could not. Hope is not naive optimism. It is informed belief grounded in growth and faith. Trust God's timing. Trust the lessons you gained. Apply wisdom without carrying fear. Open your heart to possibility again. Cautious wisdom is healthy. Paralyzing fear is not. Destiny unfolds when faith outweighs memory of disappointment. There were days when your efforts seemed unnoticed and your motivation declined. It is difficult to remain committed when results appear invisible. Yet invisible effort builds visible outcomes later. Seeds germinate beneath soil before breaking through the surface. Consistency compounds. One disciplined day may not feel powerful, but hundreds of disciplined days transform character and results. Sustainable success is rarely dramatic. It is cumulative. Remind yourself why you began. Reconnect with your vision. Adjust your approach if necessary, but do not abandon your purpose easily. Endurance separates temporary enthusiasm from lasting impact. Stay steady in quiet seasons. What feels hidden now may soon become evident. Destiny often matures silently before it manifests publicly. There were crossroads where integrity cost you opportunity. You chose honesty instead of advantage. That decision may have felt costly, but integrity protects long-term destiny. Compromise may offer speed, but it weakens foundation. Character defines legacy. Reputation grows through consistent ethical decisions. When you choose principles over pressure, you build trust. Trust opens doors that shortcuts cannot. Success without integrity collapses under scrutiny. Success with integrity withstands challenge. Guard your values carefully. They are the framework of your influence. Sacred destiny is sustained by moral strength. Remain honest in business. Remain faithful in relationships. Remain disciplined in private life. Stability grows from integrity. There were internal struggles with impatience when progress slowed again. You wanted confirmation. You wanted visible signs. But growth does not always provide immediate feedback. Trust the unseen process. Impatience can trigger poor decisions. It can lead to premature moves. Wise patience observes carefully and waits for alignment. Patience is not passivity. It is controlled strength. Strengthen faith through reflection. Remember past breakthroughs. Recognize patterns of provision. Confidence in God's plan grows when you recall previous victories. Stay composed. Continue preparing. Continue improving. When timing aligns, movement will feel natural and clear. Sacred destiny unfolds with precision, not panic. There were seasons when you felt the weight of uncertainty pressing on every decision. Each choice seemed monumental, as if the wrong step could derail everything you had worked toward. Anxiety whispered that you were unprepared, that your resources were insufficient, or that your timing was off. Yet the truth is, uncertainty is not the absence of possibility. It is the invitation to grow. It forces discernment, sharpens problem solving, and strengthens courage. Every challenge that seems unclear today is an opportunity to develop mental and emotional resilience. When you face the unknown with intention and careful planning, you are learning to navigate life with wisdom, patience, and insight that few others possess. Uncertainty is not your enemy. It is your teacher, preparing you for opportunities that require steadiness and composure. Many people fail to recognize the power of silent growth. They focus on visible success, believing that productivity is measured only by outcomes. Yet the most profound development occurs beneath the surface. Skills, discipline, character, and emotional intelligence form quietly over time. The small choices you make in private, how you handle disappointment, how you invest your time, how you treat others when no one is watching, accumulate into measurable influence later. Patience in unseen seasons is essential. You must continue to show up daily, apply effort consistently, and refine your mindset even when progress seems invisible. The work you do quietly now becomes the foundation for future prominence and meaningful impact. There were moments when fear tried to define your limits. It whispered that you could not succeed, that the obstacles were too great, or that you were not enough. Fear is a natural companion in growth, but it is not a guide. Strength is developed through disciplined action despite fear. Every time you push forward in the presence of doubt, you strengthen confidence, mental toughness, and resilience. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is commitment to purpose in spite of it. Step boldly, knowing that preparation and careful planning equip you to face challenges with clarity. Each calculated decision in the face of fear increases your ability to handle greater responsibility, influence, and opportunity in the future. There were times when distraction threatened your focus. Endless noise, unnecessary opinions, and trivial engagements attempted to pull you from your path. Sacred destiny requires undivided attention. Energy follows focus. What you nurture grows. What you ignore diminishes. Protect your mental space. Set boundaries around your time, attention, and environment. Discipline your mind to prioritize long-term vision over short-term satisfaction. When distractions are minimized, clarity increases. You begin to notice patterns, opportunities, and solutions that were previously hidden by noise. Focus is not just productivity. It is the ability to see the path forward and walk it steadily, purposefully, and consistently. There were seasons when your confidence wavered, challenged by repeated setbacks or criticism from others. Confidence does not arise automatically. It is developed through action, reflection, and persistence. Each time you try, adjust, and persevere, your trust in your own ability strengthens. Criticism is not necessarily rejection. It can be instruction if analyzed wisely. Maintain a teachable attitude while holding firm to your values. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge incremental improvement and honor your progress. The accumulation of these experiences builds a foundation of resilience that sustains long-term success. Confidence rooted in personal growth and responsibility will carry you through challenges far more effectively than fleeting validation from others. There were opportunities that demanded sacrifice, requiring you to let go of comfort, leisure, and immediate gratification. Sacrifice can feel heavy in the moment, yet it is essential for meaningful growth. Each intentional choice to invest in learning, discipline, and skill building compounds over time. Temporary discomfort produces permanent capability. It strengthens your capacity to endure hardship, to make strategic decisions, and to act with clarity under pressure. Growth without sacrifice is often superficial. True advancement requires prioritizing what truly matters over what temporarily satisfies. When you make these choices deliberately, you are actively shaping your sacred destiny, preparing yourself for the influence, leadership, and impact that lie ahead. There were moments when past mistakes attempted to define your identity, filling your mind with self-doubt, shame, or regret. Yet mistakes do not determine your potential, they teach it. Reflection transforms error into instruction, guiding better decision-making and wiser action in the future. Embrace accountability for past decisions, but do not remain trapped by them. Learn lessons, extract insight, and apply these lessons moving forward. Your trajectory is shaped by the wisdom you gain from experience, not by fear of repetition. Each mistake that you analyze and improve upon adds depth to your maturity, strengthens your discipline, and equips you to handle greater challenges with composure and foresight. There were seasons when patience felt impossible, when you desired rapid progress and immediate results. Yet patience is the scaffolding of success. It allows skills to mature, relationships to stabilize, and opportunities to align with readiness. Rushing progress can lead to mistakes, burnout, and compromised integrity. True advancement occurs when preparation meets timing, and timing often requires waiting. Use waiting periods wisely, refine strategy, deepen knowledge, strengthen character, and practice discipline. Patience is not idleness. It is deliberate preparation. Those who endure patiently often achieve far more meaningful, lasting results than those who rush toward fleeting success. There were moments when your influence seemed small, invisible, or irrelevant. You may have questioned whether your efforts mattered. Yet influence often operates quietly before it becomes obvious. Every act of integrity, every display of discipline, every intentional choice to improve skill or help others contributes to your unseen authority. Small, consistent actions compound over time, gradually building credibility, trust, and respect. Your sacred destiny is often shaped in these unseen seasons, where quiet commitment lays the foundation for visible leadership, impact, and opportunity. Recognize that your value is not measured by immediate recognition, but by the cumulative effect of consistent action over time. There were times when frustration tempted you to abandon your journey. Obstacles appeared relentless, results seemed distant. Yet frustration is a signal, not a verdict. It indicates areas that require attention, adjustment, and refinement. Evaluate methods, reconsider strategies, and adapt without compromising your integrity or vision. Resilience grows when you persevere despite discomfort. Each obstacle you navigate successfully increases your capacity for larger challenges. Your sacred destiny is not thwarted by temporary setbacks. It is strengthened by perseverance, refined by adaptation, and clarified through the lessons you learn along the way. There were seasons when self-doubt whispered lies, convincing you that you were not enough. It attacked your courage, undermined your progress, and cast shadows over your vision. Yet self-doubt is a test of trust, not a reflection of reality. The truth is that preparation, skill development, and consistent action equip you for the responsibilities you will soon face. Each disciplined day, each wise decision, each lesson learned fortifies confidence. Trust in what you have built quietly. Believe in the trajectory formed by consistent effort. Confidence emerges not from perfection, but from perseverance, experience, and the steady accumulation of wisdom. There were times when external circumstances seemed to conspire against your progress. Projects stalled, opportunities delayed, people doubted, life felt unpredictable and unfair. Yet these external pressures often serve a hidden purpose. They test resilience, reveal hidden strength, and clarify priorities. Adversity highlights where your discipline is solid and where refinement is needed. Instead of resisting the challenge, you can approach it strategically. Analyze obstacles, identify actionable solutions, and adjust your approach without compromising integrity. Challenges are not permanent barriers. They are catalysts for growth, sharpening problem-solving abilities, increasing adaptability, and strengthening your capacity to endure greater responsibility when opportunity finally arrives. Many people underestimate the power of long-term focus. Immediate results can be tempting, but lasting success is rarely achieved overnight. Consistency over months and years compounds into remarkable transformation. Small intentional actions taken every day, investing in skills, refining habits, nurturing relationships, and managing resources responsibly, create the momentum that propels your destiny forward. What may feel insignificant now is actually forming the foundation for larger breakthroughs. Patience, coupled with persistent effort, produces results that are both sustainable and meaningful, providing stability that impulsive or short-term decisions cannot deliver. There were moments when past criticism weighed heavily on your self-confidence. Words spoken years ago lingered in your mind, casting doubt on your capabilities. Yet past judgment does not define future potential. Constructive reflection allows you to separate useful feedback from negativity and extract wisdom even from difficult interactions. Each time you apply insight gained from past experiences, you increase your competence, refine decision-making, and strengthen emotional maturity. Progress builds quietly in those who choose to learn rather than remain discouraged. And over time, the person you become surpasses the limitations others once assumed for you. There were times when uncertainty made every decision feel like a risk. You hesitated, fearing mistakes that could set you back. Yet decision-making is itself a skill that grows through action. Each choice you make, even imperfectly, teaches discernment and strategy. Hesitation delays opportunity. Intentional steps create clarity. Trust your preparation. Evaluate risks carefully and move forward deliberately. Courage is developed in the process of acting despite doubt, and confidence is reinforced each time you navigate uncertainty successfully. The journey shapes you into someone capable of handling more responsibility, greater impact, and deeper influence. There were seasons when your energy and motivation waned. Routine tasks became tedious. Progress felt slow, yet momentum is maintained through discipline, not constant inspiration. Habits, consistency, and a commitment to purpose sustain movement when enthusiasm fades. Even on days when you feel unmotivated, action, however small, keeps your journey moving forward. Over time, these repeated efforts compound, producing significant growth. Motivation may fluctuate, but consistency builds resilience, develops skill, and strengthens your capacity to endure future challenges. There were moments when fear of failure loomed large, threatening to stop you from pursuing opportunities. Fear often exaggerates risks and minimizes potential rewards. Yet failure is not a verdict. It is an instructor. Each setback provides feedback, reveals blind spots, and offers guidance for improvement. Embracing calculated risk while learning from mistakes cultivates resilience, problem-solving skills, and strategic thinking. Fear diminishes as action increases. Courage is strengthened when you act despite uncertainty, and over time, the ability to face challenges with composure becomes a defining characteristic of leadership. There were seasons when distractions pulled attention from your purpose. Social noise, trivial obligations, and competing priorities threatened to dilute focus. Sacred destiny requires careful attention. Protect your time and mental space. Clarify priorities and consistently align actions with long-term goals. Eliminating distractions allows energy to flow toward meaningful work, magnifying results. Focus not only enhances productivity, but also develops clarity, insight, and strategic thinking. Concentrated effort creates a momentum that carries forward your influence, strengthens skills, and establishes a foundation for consistent achievement. There were times when self-doubt threatened to undermine your confidence entirely. You questioned whether you were capable, prepared, or deserving. Yet self-doubt is often a signal, not a verdict. It identifies areas that need refinement, discipline, or skill development. Each intentional step taken despite uncertainty reinforces belief in your abilities. Incremental wins, repeated practice, and consistent progress gradually replace doubt with confidence. Confidence is built on action, not emotion. By trusting the process, focusing on growth, and persevering in small, consistent steps, self-doubt diminishes and capability increases. There were seasons when external approval seemed lacking. Recognition did not arrive as expected. Praise was absent. Yet validation from others is temporary. It is not the measure of success or destiny. True progress comes from diligence, competence, and integrity. Work diligently in private. Strengthen skills quietly. Develop resilience through consistent effort. Over time, results will reflect growth, and the impact of your actions will speak louder than external affirmation. Your sacred destiny is built on internal accountability and consistent performance, not public validation. There were moments when impatience tempted you to make premature decisions. Desire for immediate results overshadowed the wisdom of timing. Yet meaningful progress often requires preparation. Patience allows skills to develop, relationships to mature, and opportunities to align correctly. Acting too early can compromise outcomes. Practice strategic restraint. Focus on steady improvement, discipline, and learning. By honoring timing, you position yourself to capitalize on opportunities with greater effectiveness and stability. Long-term success is rarely rushed. It unfolds naturally when preparation meets alignment. There were times when emotional wounds threatened to control your perspective. Past disappointments, betrayal, or criticism created fear or resentment. Yet emotional freedom is essential for progress. Confront feelings honestly. Learn lessons without allowing pain to dictate decisions. Healing allows clarity, restores energy, and strengthens decision-making. Maturity grows through reflection and release, enabling you to approach challenges with composure. Emotional resilience is a critical component of sacred destiny, empowering you to navigate adversity while maintaining focus, discipline, and strategic action. There were seasons when responsibility seemed overwhelming, demands increased, expectations multiplied. Yet taking ownership of tasks expands capacity and cultivates leadership. Responsibility tests endurance, sharpens problem solving, and strengthens discipline. Instead of resisting, approach obligations strategically. Break large tasks into manageable steps. Prioritize what matters most. Delegate wisely when possible. Each challenge you meet reinforces confidence and readiness for larger opportunities. Sacred destiny unfolds as you develop capacity, refine judgment, and cultivate the resilience required for long-term influence. There were times when setbacks tested your perseverance, plans changed unexpectedly, effort appeared wasted. Yet setbacks are often hidden lessons in disguise. They reveal weaknesses to strengthen, refine strategies, and improve execution. Resilience develops through navigating adversity rather than interpreting setbacks as failure. View them as growth opportunities. Adapt your approach, learn the lessons, and continue with determination. Those who endure difficulty with wisdom, patience, and disciplined action often achieve breakthroughs far beyond what initial progress could have predicted. There were moments when your personal growth required sacrifice. Comfort, convenience, and leisure were temporarily set aside. Sacrifice may feel painful, but it creates capacity, discipline, and long-term advantage. Choices made with intentionality compound into resilience, skill, and credibility. Short-term discomfort paves the way for sustainable success. Recognizing that every sacrifice has a purpose transforms discipline into empowerment. Over time, consistency and self-control produce outcomes that immediate gratification cannot. There were seasons when self-reflection became uncomfortable. Honest evaluation of your weaknesses, habits, and mindset revealed areas that needed improvement. Yet discomfort in reflection is a sign of growth. Awareness allows adjustment. It promotes strategic action, reduces repeated mistakes, and builds maturity. Personal accountability is a key pillar of sacred destiny. Accepting responsibility, learning from experience, and applying lessons strengthens leadership, increases influence, and prepares you for meaningful achievement. There were times when motivation seemed fleeting, and progress felt stagnant. Energy lagged, inspiration waned, and the path forward appeared uncertain. Yet persistence during low motivation periods builds true endurance. Action, even when enthusiasm is absent, maintains momentum. Consistent effort compounds quietly, producing significant long-term results. Discipline exceeds fleeting inspiration in creating sustainable success. By committing to steady progress regardless of immediate feeling, you prepare yourself for breakthrough, ensuring that when opportunity arrives, you are fully equipped to seize it effectively. There were moments when fear of judgment threatened to silence your voice and limit your expression. External opinion can feel intimidating, yet personal growth requires authenticity. Speak wisely, act decisively, and remain true to your principles. Courage grows through repeated practice, and influence expands when actions are aligned with integrity. Choosing authenticity over approval strengthens confidence, develops leadership, and establishes a reputation rooted in reliability and trustworthiness. Fear diminishes as competence, preparation, and wisdom increase. There were seasons when delayed results tested your commitment. The effort you invested did not immediately yield visible rewards. Patience in unseen seasons is crucial. Consistent, focused work produces exponential growth over time. Every action you take quietly builds momentum, shapes skill, and strengthens discipline. What feels slow today is forming the infrastructure for meaningful long-term achievement. Trust the cumulative power of sustained effort. Progress may be invisible initially, but it compounds steadily, preparing you to enter new levels of influence, capability, and opportunity. There were times when external recognition seemed scarce and internal motivation faltered. Applause did not arrive, yet commitment mattered more than validation. Focus on what you control: your effort, consistency, and integrity. Visible success follows discipline, skill, and strategic action. Sacred destiny develops when you prioritize accountability over recognition, persistence over impatience, and growth over instant gratification. What you build quietly now will eventually manifest as lasting, undeniable achievement. There were moments when self-discipline was tested. Temptations to deviate from your plan emerged, whether through distractions, short-term pleasure, or procrastination. Discipline is the bridge between intention and accomplishment. Each moment, you resist impulse, follow through on commitment, and act with purpose strengthens character, refines focus, and reinforces capability. Sustained discipline produces exponential results. Sacred destiny thrives when consistency becomes habitual and perseverance becomes instinctive. There were seasons when indecision clouded your judgment. You analyzed every option endlessly, fearing that a wrong choice would set you back permanently. Yet overthinking often stalls progress more than failure ever could. Action, even imperfect, generates feedback, reveals hidden challenges, and clarifies direction. Each step, taken with intention, builds confidence and develops discernment. Experience teaches you which choices align with long-term vision and which require adjustment. Sacred destiny unfolds through thoughtful, deliberate movement, not hesitation. Trust your preparation, evaluate wisely, and act courageously. Clarity often comes in motion rather than in pause. There were times when external circumstances seemed overwhelming. Responsibilities multiplied, resources felt insufficient, and expectations grew heavier than imagined. Yet pressure can refine ability. It highlights gaps in skills, strengthens resilience, and forces innovative thinking. What seems unbearable in the moment often becomes manageable through strategic planning and disciplined effort. Break challenges into smaller, actionable tasks. Prioritize what matters most. Develop routines that support growth. Gradually, the weight shifts from a burden into a framework for expanded capacity and increased influence. Endurance and structured action transform hardship into preparation for meaningful achievement. There were moments when negative feedback shook your confidence. Words intended to discourage lingered in your mind. Yet criticism, when analyzed objectively, can provide valuable insight. Distinguish constructive feedback from baseless judgment. Learn lessons that improve skill, strategy, and perspective. Resilience grows when you respond thoughtfully instead of reacting defensively. Over time, these lessons accumulate, strengthening judgment, emotional stability, and decision-making capacity. Sacred destiny often matures quietly through careful learning and adaptation in the face of external opinion. There were seasons when energy waned and focus faltered. You questioned whether continued effort was worth the strain. Yet momentum is maintained through disciplined consistency, not temporary inspiration. Even small daily actions, repeated over time, compound into substantial progress. Avoid relying solely on motivation, which fluctuates. Instead, structure your days, create habits that reinforce purpose, and maintain routines that protect focus. Over time, persistence produces measurable results, develops character, and prepares you for greater opportunities that cannot be achieved through sporadic effort alone. There were moments when fear of failure threatened to paralyze you. You imagined worst-case outcomes and hesitated to act. Yet failure is a teacher, not a verdict. Each setback contains information that guides improvement, identifies weaknesses, and sharpens strategy. Courage grows when action occurs despite fear. Confidence strengthens as repeated challenges are met and overcome. Sacred destiny requires confronting uncertainty with deliberate steps, turning risk into opportunity, and building resilience through practical experience. Each challenge you navigate equips you for larger responsibilities and greater influence. There were times when distractions attempted to divert your attention from what mattered most. Social noise, trivial obligations, and competing priorities competed for energy and focus. Yet disciplined attention magnifies results. Protect your time, mental space, and environment. Prioritize actions that align with long-term vision. Eliminate or minimize what dilutes energy. Concentration not only improves productivity, but also enhances clarity, insight, and decision-making. Focused effort produces momentum that extends into every area of life, establishing a foundation for consistent achievement and the realization of sacred purpose. There were moments when self-doubt crept into your mind, questioning your ability to achieve goals. Yet self-doubt often highlights areas for refinement rather than a final verdict on potential. Each deliberate action, skill development, and lesson learned diminishes doubt and strengthens competence. Build confidence through repetition, reflection, and acknowledgement of progress. Remember past successes. Maintain perspective. With each intentional step forward, belief in your capacity grows stronger, reinforcing resilience, sharpening judgment, and preparing you for opportunities that require both courage and discernment. There were seasons when validation from others seemed absent, and your work felt unnoticed. Applause and recognition may be delayed, but internal accountability and consistent effort create lasting impact. Focus on what you can control: your effort, discipline, and adherence to values. Progress compounded over time eventually produces visible results. Sacred destiny is cultivated through integrity, perseverance, and commitment to growth, not through the fleeting approval of others. The work you do quietly now forms the foundation for long-term influence and meaningful achievement. There were times when patience felt impossible. You longed for immediate progress, yet circumstances demanded waiting. Patience is not idleness, it is preparation. Delayed results allow skills to mature, relationships to stabilize, and opportunities to align optimally. Avoid impulsive decisions driven by frustration or desire for speed. Use waiting periods to refine strategy, strengthen knowledge, and develop discipline. Over time, patience compounds into a level of readiness that ensures success when opportunity arrives. Sacred destiny unfolds in alignment with timing, preparation, and steadfast endurance. There were moments when emotional weight threatened to derail focus. Past hurts, resentment, or disappointments created mental fatigue. Yet emotional maturity is essential for sustainable growth. Confront feelings honestly, release what cannot be controlled, and apply lessons learned. Emotional resilience improves decision-making, strengthens relationships, and supports leadership. Each experience processed thoughtfully equips you to navigate future challenges with composure, ensuring that your journey continues steadily, even through hardship. Sacred destiny requires not only skill and strategy, but also emotional balance. There were seasons when responsibility seemed heavier than your capacity. You were stretched in multiple directions simultaneously, yet responsibility expands potential. It develops problem-solving ability, enhances resilience, and reveals hidden strengths. Break large obligations into smaller, manageable components. Prioritize what matters most. Approach tasks with organization and discipline. Gradually, the weight transforms into capability. The process prepares you for greater challenges, amplifies influence, and establishes credibility. Sacred destiny unfolds when responsibility is approached strategically, demonstrating both competence and integrity. There were times when setbacks threatened to discourage continued effort. Plans were disrupted, and progress felt nullified. Yet setbacks are often disguised lessons. They reveal areas for improvement, sharpen problem-solving skills, and cultivate perseverance. Instead of seeing them as failure, interpret setbacks as guidance. Adapt strategies, refine processes, and continue with resilience. Those who endure with wisdom and patience emerge stronger, better equipped, and ready for breakthrough opportunities that others may never access. Sacred destiny often crystallizes in the very moments when perseverance is tested. There were moments when personal sacrifice felt overwhelming. You set aside comfort, leisure, and immediate gratification in pursuit of long-term goals. Sacrifice can feel heavy, yet it builds capacity, discipline, and endurance. The choices made intentionally today compound into strength, credibility, and sustained impact. Short-term discomfort shapes readiness for larger responsibilities and opportunities. Recognize the purpose behind your sacrifices. Each act of self-discipline reinforces growth, develops resilience, and positions you to embrace greater achievement. Sacred destiny is constructed through conscious, consistent choices that prioritize future growth over temporary ease. There were seasons when self-reflection exposed uncomfortable truths about your habits, decisions, and mindset. Facing these realities can be unsettling, yet reflection is a cornerstone of growth. Honest evaluation allows adaptation, improvement, and strategic refinement. Avoid defensiveness. Instead, use insight to strengthen decisions, enhance skill, and cultivate emotional maturity. Accountability and self-awareness ensure that progress is deliberate and measured. Sacred destiny requires the courage to evaluate oneself critically, make necessary adjustments, and pursue continuous improvement with integrity and focus. There were times when motivation fluctuated and progress seemed slow. Energy lagged, inspiration waned, and the path forward appeared unclear. Yet perseverance during these periods builds endurance and character. Discipline sustains effort when motivation is low. Small, consistent actions accumulate into significant results over time. Develop routines and habits that support long-term objectives. By committing to steady progress regardless of immediate feeling, you prepare yourself for breakthroughs and ensure that opportunities are met with readiness, competence, and clarity when they arrive. There were moments when fear of judgment threatened to silence your voice. The opinions of others created hesitation, self-consciousness, or reluctance. Yet authenticity and courage are essential for meaningful influence. Speak with clarity and act decisively, even when scrutiny is present. Confidence grows through repeated action, preparation, and alignment with core values. Influence expands when you maintain integrity and demonstrate competence consistently. Fear diminishes as preparation, knowledge, and practice increase. Sacred destiny is realized through authentic, disciplined, and courageous engagement with the world. There were seasons when progress appeared delayed despite consistent effort. Results were slow to manifest, creating frustration and doubt. Yet meaningful transformation often occurs invisibly before visible breakthroughs appear. Each act of diligence, learning, and refinement compounds quietly, establishing momentum that becomes evident over time. Trust in sustained effort, continue to refine skills, and maintain focus on long-term objectives. Sacred destiny matures during these hidden periods, preparing you to capitalize fully on opportunities once they align with readiness, timing, and cumulative growth. There were times when external expectations seemed impossible to satisfy. People projected their fears, doubts, and opinions onto you, creating pressure to conform. Yet your sacred destiny is not defined by the standards or limitations of others. It is shaped by consistent effort, wise decision-making, and a commitment to growth that aligns with your own vision and purpose. When you resist the noise of judgment and maintain focus on intentional, disciplined action, you begin to experience clarity, confidence, and alignment that others cannot impose or disrupt. The path forward is forged by steady persistence, careful preparation, and courageous engagement with the challenges that come your way. There were seasons when opportunities appeared to vanish, leaving you frustrated and uncertain. Doors seemed closed, and progress felt stalled. Yet absence of opportunity often signals a time for preparation. Use these periods to sharpen skills, expand knowledge, and cultivate relationships that support long-term achievement. Patience is not passive waiting, it is active readiness. When preparation meets timing, breakthroughs occur seamlessly. Those who remain diligent, adaptable, and focused during these quiet seasons emerge stronger, more capable, and fully prepared to embrace the success that previously seemed out of reach. There were moments when doubt and fear attempted to overshadow your progress. Anxiety whispered that your efforts were insufficient, that failure was inevitable, and that you were not ready. Yet every challenge faced, every step taken despite uncertainty, strengthens resilience, sharpens strategy, and develops courage. Trust in the gradual accumulation of disciplined action, practical learning, and emotional growth. Confidence is built not by avoiding fear, but by moving forward in its presence. Over time, the combination of wisdom, patience, and persistence creates the momentum necessary to fulfill the potential of your sacred destiny. There were times when fatigue and discouragement threatened to halt your journey, yet endurance is developed through consistent effort, careful planning, and disciplined action. Every moment of perseverance adds to your strength, sharpens your focus, and expands your capacity to handle greater challenges. Progress may feel slow, but it is cumulative and transformative. Sacred destiny is not instantaneous. It is the result of continuous intentional work compounded over time. Remain steadfast, and even the most difficult seasons will produce growth, preparation, and readiness for the opportunities ahead. There were seasons when small victories felt insignificant and progress seemed invisible. Yet even minor accomplishments build the foundation for monumental breakthroughs. Every lesson learned, every habit cultivated, every skill refined adds layers to your readiness. What appears hidden now is silently preparing you to achieve at a level that aligns perfectly with your purpose. Focus on consistency, integrity, and intentional improvement. The quiet work done today sets the stage for impactful results tomorrow. Sacred destiny grows incrementally, strengthened by patience, persistence, and strategic action. There were moments when sacrifice felt overwhelming. Letting go of comfort, leisure, or immediate gratification can be painful, yet it cultivates discipline, resilience, and capacity. Each conscious choice to prioritize long-term growth over short-term pleasure compounds into strength, preparation, and opportunity. Sacrifice today produces freedom tomorrow, the freedom to lead, influence, and embrace the impact for which you were designed. Sacred destiny flourishes when commitment outweighs convenience and long-term vision supersedes temporary ease. There were times when the lessons of the past seemed heavy, when mistakes and setbacks threatened to define your trajectory. Yet each experience, when reflected upon with honesty, provides insight that guides wiser decisions, stronger habits, and more resilient action in the future. Accountability, self-awareness, and thoughtful reflection transform past failures into stepping stones for achievement. The wisdom gained equips you to navigate future challenges with clarity, composure, and effectiveness. Sacred destiny is cultivated by those who learn, adapt, and persist despite the difficulties encountered along the way. There were seasons when inner strength felt insufficient for the challenges at hand. Yet every challenge you face builds resilience, sharpens discernment, and develops capacity. Courage is not the absence of difficulty, but the ability to act with determination and wisdom despite it. Every obstacle navigated successfully strengthens character, expands capability, and positions you to handle greater responsibilities and opportunities. Sacred destiny is not merely about talent or luck. It is about consistent effort, resilience in adversity, and the disciplined application of knowledge and skill. There were times when clarity seemed elusive and the path forward was uncertain. Yet clarity often emerges through action, reflection, and the consistent pursuit of growth. Each step taken, each lesson learned, and each adjustment made refines understanding and strengthens confidence. Trust in the process, focus on preparation, and remain persistent. Sacred destiny is not a sudden gift, but a deliberate result of disciplined, consistent, and intentional growth over time. There were moments when faith in your journey felt challenged by the slow pace of progress or the complexity of circumstances. Yet steady commitment to growth, wisdom, and integrity ensures that you are prepared for the breakthroughs that align with your vision. Sacred destiny unfolds through the combination of patience, consistent effort, and strategic action. Each day you persist, each challenge you overcome, and each lesson you internalize brings you closer to the purpose you are meant to fulfill. Your sacred destiny is not an abstract concept. It is the result of intentional action, persistent growth, disciplined preparation, and the courage to move forward despite fear, uncertainty, or criticism. Every setback, every sacrifice, every quiet, disciplined effort contributes to the foundation of success that will manifest in its appointed time. Progress is rarely immediate, but it is cumulative. Your unique strengths, experiences, and choices position you to fulfill a purpose that no one else can replicate. Stay patient, remain focused, protect your energy, and cultivate resilience. The journey is long, yet every challenge is a stepping stone, every lesson a tool, and every small victory a marker of your readiness. Sacred destiny is achieved not by chance, but by the consistent, disciplined, and purposeful actions you take every single day.